Awesome. Okay.
Jacqueline, feel free whenever you're ready.
Okay. Great. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our presentation this evening about the new economic evolution of the world, study, invest, prosper. I'm happy to have you all. I'm myself as Jacqueline, and I have my other co-presenters, Blaise and Mo, on standby, and they'll be talking to you later. And I'm here to represent the Academy of the Private Investor. And I really hope you enjoy our presentation this evening. Take out your pen and paper and make notes, and then pass on the information and spread the word, as we'd like you to do, because it's all about learning and empowering people. Next slide, please, Blaise. Right, I'm just going to close this up so I can actually see all the words, because it tends to disappear on my screen. Great. So I'm just going to tell you about our disclaimer, which is really important before we start. You'll see terminology used such as EIP, which is referred to as Educational Informational Products, MLCU, Multilevel Crowdinvesting, CRU, CryptoUnit, Internal Points for Tokens, digital stock analogy. Please note, we do not sell and do not have a license to sell shares or tokens. All countries have their own rules for the sale of financial products, and we comply with the laws of the country. Most countries allow the sale of information products without a special license. We offer the opportunity to participate in wealth building training, which provides the fundamental principles on which wealth is created and maintained. We do not provide financial investment consultations, and please do your own due diligence or request confirmation from a licensed accountant or financial advisor in your area for compliance with the requirements in your state or country. Thank you, Blaise. Right, my name is Jacqueline Burrows. I'm a member of the UK Leaders Council. I'm a new consultant, a Master Profi graduate, entrepreneur, private investor, teacher, mentor, and philanthropist. Bit of a list there, bit of a mouthful, but and a nurse. Wow, that's on there as well. Yeah, forget about that. I'm in a nursing background as well. So that's all really me. I came into New Economic Evolution of the World, NEEW, which we will talk more about later on. Just really through a transport innovative technology, which was another arm that was which I was interested in because I love sci-fi. So to me, once I saw the sci-fi and I saw Unitsky, the scientist, I thought, well, he looks like a lovely guy, and I love his ideas and his dreams that have been 46 years in process. And to think you can dream that long and see something to come to fruition must be amazing. But I loved it. I love the dynamics, the design, everything about the science behind it. That's how I came, and then I became involved in NEW, because it was a different type of thing and very new to me. So we'll talk about that further on, and about digitalization. So it was a completely new step for me being an entrepreneur. I have background with nursing and teaching, which I really enjoy, and mentoring people and helping people to learn new things, and especially this new world that we're entering. So we're going to talk about, let's give you a bit of the program, meeting program. First part of the meeting will be about investment thinking, the Academy of the Private Investor, and the role of financial literacy. Then we'll go on to the VIP Club of a Private Investor, growth prospects, bonuses for participants of the club, global crew portfolio, and then on to multi-level crowd investing, MLCI business, and business trainings for partners. And then we'll also have a second part after this presentation, where we're going to talk about 8 rules of the private investor, which Mo will do, as well as talking of, Blaise just put it up here, the new economic evolution of the world. I said we would talk about NEW, which we are going to, and plans for the company. So next slide, please, Blaise. Okay, so here we have, just move this out of the way. Sorry, let me just get the, right, okay. Academy of the Private Investor. Well, having joined this academy has really changed my outlook on life and about obviously investing, which I sort of knew a little bit about before by dabbling here and there, but I didn't actually realize there was a science to this, and there was actually some rules which Mo will talk about that you should really follow to make it work for you and to actually approach it in the right direction. So hence joining this academy really opened my eyes to these type of principles and foundations that we should understand. So it's a global online portal with 9 years of expertise. And the gentleman in the blue suit in the middle, Andrei Hovratov, is the co-founder, and he's our CEO. When I say the co-founder, the founder of the Academy of the Private Investor. And it's due to him that we have all this amazing enterprise set up for the Academy. More than 1.355 million users from over 176 countries. Teachers with up to 23 years of experience in our Academy of Private Investor now, with investment and finance fields. It does practical studies in areas of finance, investment and personal growth. And we have real case studies, group lessons, and individual coaching and mentoring. And as you can see, it was founded in 2011. And since 2014, we've now had more than 1 million students join this academy. Next slide, please, Mo. Sorry, Blaze. So investment thinking. So we've got 2 words there, investment and thinking. So we want you to think about investment, and we want you to also think as well. So we move on to this cash flow quadrant. And the gentleman here on the left, for those of you who may not know, if those of you who know him, that's great. I'm just going to recap anyway. And his name is Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki is a gentleman who's well known for his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in that in his life with his father, who was very highly educated, and was a professor at a university, and they never seemed to have lots of money, or there was always issues with cash flow in the family. And Robert couldn't understand this because his father was very well high up in the university. And his friend had a father who was not as qualified as his father, but yet his friend's father seemed to be very busy with business and had cash flow, and they didn't seem to have those sort of issues that Robert had. If he wanted something, they didn't have enough money, the father would tell him they didn't have any money. So he decided off his own back to go and have a talk and discussion with his friend's father to find out what was the difference between his father and his own father. And then he realized when his friend's father started showing him, and he started working for free with his friend's father to actually learn about how his friend's father ran business. And then he realized why his father was not as affluent as his friend's father. And this is because his father fell into this category that we're going to look at here, the cash flow quadrant. So working, you have a job, as his father was. You have a job, you're working 9 to 5. Your worth is determined by your employer. You have sick leave, yes, and you'll have holiday pay. But as we know what's happening in the world today, if your job was no longer available, or you were told that you were no longer wanted, what would you do after that? Yes, you may have to look for another job, but would you have your salary coming in? Would you have a large amount of money put aside for a rainy day to cover you for that time? You don't know how long you'll be looking for a job. And I know of many people who I've worked with myself would be saying to me things like, oh, I've already spent next month's salary. Before it's come, they've already spent it. So it's a revolving, like a hamster wheel. You're just literally looking for the salary to come so that you can spend it. And the next part of the quadrant here on the left is the entrepreneur. So you think that's one step up and you work for yourself. That's great. You work for yourself. You don't have on your back telling you what to do. But at the same time, you are your boss. So you'll be on your back telling yourself what to do. And if you don't do it, if you don't get up, if you're not motivated, if you don't have, the self-development, if you're not out there putting yourself out, will your business as an entrepreneur work? Who knows about you? So it's hard work, and you don't get sick leave because you're responsible. You don't get paid holidays because it's all down to you. So once again, as much as it's a bit of step of freedom, you're still tied to the restraints of being working for yourself. On the right-hand side of the quadrant, we move over to the businessman. And I just love the sound when people say, I'm a businessman. It sounds really grandeur and important. And it is important. But there you have the responsibilities of people working for you, the responsibility is maintaining their salary. They're depending on you for their livelihood. So the flip coin of when you're the employee, now you're the employer. The stresses and strains of carrying that organization, and you can see what's happening once again today with all these, how the climate has changed in our world all over the planet. Many people are feeling the same pains, the same anguishes, the same uncertainties, and businesses are going down. So you own a business and people work for you. That's on the right side of the quadrant, but it's still not the ultimate side. Then we have the investor. Money works for you. And there's nothing better than actually thinking when you're sleeping, money is working for you, whether you're awake, money is working for you, whether you're on holiday, money is working for you, or if you've had to go to hospital, money is working for you, or something happens in your life, some changing circumstances, but money is still working for you. And being an investor really improves your standard of life and helps you on the path to financial freedom. So we look at some of the statistics to see where the people on the left and where the people on the right stand in terms of affluence and money. So you find that 90% of the people in our cash flow quadrant own 10% of the wealth, and 10% of the people own 90% of the wealth. So I'm sure you know which side of the quadrant those equations will stand on. So we here at Academy of Private Investor, we are aiming to try and change or shift that balance and try and get more young people aware of this type of situation that is happening in the world and why the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer, and try to educate you with financial literacy in order to dispel and improve the situation so the wealth is more evenly distributed around the world. And that's our mission, to do that and to try and make 15% of the population financially literate so they have the power to do this. Next slide, please. So here we have a world map done by Standard & Poor. They would do these type of researches, and they conducted one on the financial literacy of the population. And you can see out of the many colors, if we look at the peach and the orange colors in particular, it's quite alarming to find that 50%, at least up to 50% of the population are adults who are not financially literate. And then you have the rest in the dark blue, and you can see the different parts of Northern Europe, highly financially literate. And then we come to Canada, Australia, United States, the next down. And then if you look at the size of Russia, Brazil, Africa, India, China, it's quite, there's just something I want to read out to you here about the survey that they did. So just to give you, so they tested the knowledge of 4 basic financial concepts in doing this survey. It was quite an important survey that they did about inflation, numeracy, risk diversification, and interest compounding. And the survey was based on interviews with more than 150,000 adults in over 140 countries. And you can find the survey on the internet and read about it in more details if you wish. But the highlights are there were low levels of financial literacy around the world. Numeracy and inflation are the most understood concepts. So that's numeracy and inflation are the most understood concepts. And I suppose that is the case because you hear about it on the news all the time. Inflation is going up, inflation is going down. They're changing the interest rates to balance. So they stress a lot on inflation. But risk diversification is the least understood concept. So the survey's goal is to provide the most accurate measure of financial literacy around the world and aim to provide information to necessary organizations to empower the organizations to develop effective financial education policies and programs. So financial literacy is a critical barrier to financial inclusion. So when we talked about the cash flow quadrant, that's exactly what we're talking about. It is a barrier because people are not aware where their money is going and why it's going and why people are making more money than they are. So financial literacy is therefore highly important to people's financial well-being and to the overall health of the country's economy. So taking that in mind, it's really important that we do try and stress that everybody is as up to a level as possible financial literacy. And we think it's starting to filter through down the layers we're going through, where schools are starting to talk about it and people are starting to have the conversations. And I implore you to please have these conversations with people that you know, friends and family, and let them understand and pass on the information that we pass on to you tonight, because it's very important to just light that match and just start the small flame so it starts to flicker and become bigger and the awareness grows. Thank you, Blaise. Next slide. So because our goal, thanks, next slide, because our goal is to provide the necessary information and knowledge about the financial world and much more, we have a solution that we would like to put into operation to help this through personal growth, investment courses, and business education. Next slide, please. The training courses are aimed, sorry, just go back. The training courses are aimed at self-development, goal setting and planning, improving financial literacy, formation of investment thinking, learning different business building methods and strategies. And all these we will talk about through the presentation as we go through. So we're overviewing at the moment. We will break them down further as we go along. Thank you. Next slide. So we've been going now, as I said, the Academy was started in 2011 and 2014. The numbers were going up and up, and we started, our CEO started a portfolio, which Blaise will talk to you about. And of course, they're going to be members. We have students. So here we have pictures of many students. There are many, many, many more students. We couldn't get them all on the slides. Obviously, today we'll be here for hours going through all the stories and the people. But you can see that I'm there on one of the slides, and my fellow presenters, Blaise is there, and Mo there. I know Gail. I know many of the people through the slides, and we have this a gallery and the next gallery as well with all our many, many success stories. And they're success stories, I suppose, because we've actually taken a step. We'd like you to take the step as well, so because we're all one big family, and to take the step to try and change something in your life, to think about probably you could leave a legacy for somebody, even maybe for yourself, to change some part of your life, to give yourself more security so that you can weather the storm, or to have another stream of income. There are many, many reasons why you may want to come, but whatever the reason is, it'll be a success once you start that journey. Just to actually start and to be on that journey, you will meet many other people like yourselves who will be able to help. So I'll just give you a brief story about somebody's story, because obviously there are many. So we have a gentleman called Sam Matthew, originally from India, living in Muscat in Oman. He is a civil engineering graduate and postgraduate in MBA, specializing in human resources and project management. So we have people from many, many walks of life. So I don't want you to think, oh, I wonder if they're already businessmen or businesswomen. Everybody, it doesn't matter where you're from or who you are, the door is open for all of you to come and take part. He's worked in many countries and now working in the Ministry of Defense in Oman. Doing business was his dream, and he invested in many businesses but couldn't succeed. Lost a lot of money, and in October 2017, he got the opportunity and realized that in education and financial literacy, an opportunity to grow by educating others is the real way of success. This opportunity has helped him to become an entrepreneur, private investor, coach, and speaker in just 30 months of duration. So one step could lead to many, many roads. So there's an example where he was doing business. It didn't work for him. He needed those underpinning principles. He came to the Academy of the Private Investor, used the principles, and now it's blossomed and become many, many different avenues for him. So it's a real success story there. Next slide, please, Blaise. Right, so now I'm going to introduce you to Blaise, who's been doing the slides. I've been calling his name easy. And he is going to introduce himself. I'd like you to welcome him. He is a member as well of the NEEW, the Leadership Council. He is really passionate about what we do in our organization. He has a young family, so he'll be working with them as well and teaching them about the principles that we all learn here today. He's very much into the technical side and about the crypto and about that sort of the technology with blockchain. And he will be amazing when he's going to be talking to you. Please get your pens ready and make sure your paper is up, and flick that page after what I've given you and prepare the floor to welcome Blaise. Blaise, I hand over to you.
Thanks, Jacqueline, for your presentation and your good words. So I'm going to have a quick introduction of myself. My name is Blaise Pascal Behizi. I'm an NEW consultant. I'm a master profit graduate, private investor, and I'm a part of UK Local Leader Council with Mo and Jacqueline and Gail and Magda. I'm still working in IT, mainly in the database side, for the last 20 years. My expertise more Oracle SQL Server. On my free time, I'm a blockchain miner, Ethereum, and I do speak French, English. So how I landed here, that's a good question. So my story, it's I met a friend of mine called Marshall, who is my upline. And he was talking about those, at that time it was a Skyway before being NEW. And he told me about the project, and I was not really keen at that time. But he went to Belarus, and then he showed me the picture. He was in the train, Skyport. And at that time, and I jumped to the opportunity. Being in the company for the last, I would say 3 years now, I think the most valuable was my master profit, finance education I got for it. So I've never seen this anywhere. So in the sense that time, I decided to be from being an inactive partner to become an active partner just to help the company, because the vision and the goal, it's amazing. Never seen this before. So let's go to the presentation. Okay, what is a VIP club of private investor? VIP, everyone understands VIP is very, very important person. So in a normal life, there's any VIP require membership. In this world, NEW, you be part of the elite club, which you got discount of product, which is about 75%. As I explained before, the training I found out is unbelievable. And this being part of VIP, you got 75% of all the training. You get exclusive offer, you get access to crypto program and its bonuses, you got additional income stream, and then you participate in a closed monthly meeting compared to someone who's not VIP. I would definitely recommend everyone to be VIP. Whoever is not VIP now should move to be a VIP member. Here are the package we offer. And those are the difference if you compare them. You see the EAP beginner, how many courses you get compared to EAP basic and EAP element education compared to certificate education. They are totally different. You get more from beginner to the secondary, and you got more valuable, more training in those courses, which is not included in the beginner or the basic ones. The education projects we had, which is a beginner, it costs 50 units. The EAP basic is about 250 units. The elementary one, which is 1,000 units. The secondary education is 4,000 units. And the last one, which is higher education, which is having the most training. I would say the most important one, which is 10,000 units. So, and then these come with a screw bonus for with each purchase. Here's the story of the CryptoUnit when it started. We started March 2019. It's a year and 4 months now. If you see for a year and a half only, all the steps we've been doing, it's amazing. Some people, when I speak to them about the crypto, they thought we've been there for the last 4 or 5 years. No, we've just been a year and a half. So imagine what's going to happen the next year or two. So at the moment, we are on the stage 2, part 3, which is the stage 2, part 2, completed last week on 31st July, and now moving to the third one now. There's a lot of things happened from March 2019 until now, and we expect probably to be completed next year, sometimes in the next 3-4 months. Here are all the 20 sectors of we do the investment market. We start from education, multi-level, banking sector, science sector, mining, meta sector, cryptocurrency market. So we try to go to all, pretty much all the sector which is about 20 at the moment. We have a wide portfolio. In our global portfolio, it's worth 474 million units today, which is include those Sushi Master franchise, some gold mining, Tanzania, Ghana. We got some film production in Russia, which is KG Club production. And we got some places with little bars of technology, different places in the world. So our portfolio is massive. So what does the crypto program provide? It provides being a co-owner of the Crew global portfolio. You get monthly loyalty bonus, opportunity to receive some profit bonus. It's very regulated, transparent financing, and the Crew value just keep growing due to increase of in assets. Every time we move, we increase our assets. So here is a step-by-step guide. So step 1, you make a free registration. Step 2, you become a member, VIP, and you receive some bonuses. Step 3, you choose the right EIP, as explained in previous slide, 4 or 5. And step 4, you take action. It's very simple. Do you know how to earn by learning right now? That's a good question. The model we use is multi-level crowd investing, which we explain more details on training. Have MLSI training happening every Tuesday. This week, the plan is to do the finance one, and the 2 weeks next week, we're going to do the MSCI. So MSCI, it's a multi-level business. You can establish your own business, your own director, your own employee, you work online, you get limited revenue, international business. You have opportunity to earn million in 12-60 months. In investment business, there's an investment consulting training, which is you learn an investment instrument and co-ownership, and the opportunity to increase your capital quickly. You learn about asset management and the opportunity to create an asset from 1 million in 60 months. So as we established since 2014, here are our achievement. Paid's written 750,000 active partner, but we reached more than 1 million last month. Our business operation is 175 countries So far, since anyone achieved the rank of president, we speak 11 languages. So 96,398,724 units were paid to the network on the business. And, oh, sorry, when I say 1 million, my bad. I meant registration. Now we got 750 active partner worldwide, but we got roughly 1,300,000, almost 400 registration so far, which normally we achieve like 20,000 per month, which is 666 per day, 27 per hour. Roughly, we can say 1 registration in 2 minutes. For a company we've been established since 2014, I would say this is a massive achievement. Story of success. Those are people who have a good story. One of my mentors is Marsha Yunzima, coming from the same country. He's the one who bring me to the company, tried to convince me. I was not really keen at the beginning until he proved me that he was in Belarus. And frankly, it was, and I was glad that just I jumped to the opportunity. And so far, it's been 3 years, almost 4 years now, I don't regret. There's a lot of people involved, a lot of different story success, different countries. Here is advantage of MSCI business. You work from home, you be your own boss. You can start international business from scratch, earning a limited multiple income stream. And it's a unique business model compared to the traditional market or telemarketing. And you can have massive leverage across the entire network. So I'm going to pass again to Jacqueline for the third part.
Great. Thank you, Blaise. Right, so how to become part of our project. Register, verify, participate, and implement. But what I'd like to say before go to the next slide, register. When you register for free, and that's really great because it gives you time to decide where you want to go and what EIP you would like. And then while you're verifying, because we have to have KYC, it's know your customer, we have to know that you are the person you say you are. And so we will ask for verification process, which means that we are seen to be operating in a legit way, and we have to know that the person who is coming into the organization has all their credentials, etc. But we'd like you to, when you do that, just take the next step. Participate, and participate means, decide what EIP, education information product is for you, and take the step, take the chance of actually seeing that what we are saying is actually seeing is believing, and actually trying it. So you actually fulfill the venture and the journey of coming on board with us and implementing that action. And then go to your support partners or your downlines or your uplines or whoever you want to classify them in your business. We are all business partners, and we're all here to help you. You can go to other people if you want, nobody will be offended if you want to get help from other people. That's absolutely fine. We're all here to support each other, and we have different platforms where we use social media so you can get support from everyone. Thanks, Blaise. Next slide. So we have Presents. Well, our CEO likes to give presents all the time. We never know when they're coming. They just come out the woodwork, and we travel and we get presents. So it's really lovely that Andre is always encouraging and supportive, and he just loves to give us presents to show that he appreciates we're here in the business, and we're trying to learn about things and support other people. So our presence at the moment is when you join and you become a member of the VIP club, you're automatically given 150 crew points for saying thank you for coming and being part of the VIP membership. So that's really great. And our presents always change. As I said, we don't know when we're going to get the different types and things. So it's always a lovely surprise to get those sort of things. And then we have, as we said, we're doing training tonight, and Thursday we have MLCI there, but we will mix it up a bit and do different things because we are into so many different types of arms in our business now. We're growing and growing, so we want to keep all our members and our business partners. There'll be lots of things people want to talk about and go over and revisit, so we will be having different types of presentations on these days to encourage everybody. Next slide, please, Blaze. So our mission, as I said before, we have a mission. We're the new economic evolution of the world, NEEW, and we really want to take people on this journey and try and change what is happening and empower more people to open up their eyes and to allow them to step into a different type of future for themselves and their family and their loved ones. We want to have global distribution of the wealth. That's really important. I think that's key for your security and protection. So you don't have to think about, well, if you want to pay for someone's education, you know it's there. If you want to travel somewhere, if you know it's there. If you want to support a cause, if you know it's there. If you want to do philanthropy, you have the power and you have the means to do that. And that makes you feel really good. Money doesn't buy happiness, but having the actual freedom to do what you want to do will actually probably realize what you would like to do and probably bring you more happiness that way. It's not the actual money, it's the actual having the means to do that, to actually allow you to step into that direction. And you'll be able to help others. And I said philanthropy, actually putting your hand out to support others who may be of need. And it feels really good to be able to actually do that. And I am in philanthropy as well. And I think it really makes me feel good that I can actually help somebody else, because somebody always wants to, somebody always will need help from somebody else. And we would like to bring you prosperity and happiness. Prosperity and happiness, they really go together. And the realization of your dreams, with all this coming together holistically and bringing you to a step closer to realizing your dreams. And think about your dreams, everyone. Dreams are really, really important. And that's why we say realization of dreams. You hear sometimes people on TV saying, oh, I dreamt about this and it's actually happened. I dreamt about this. Dreams are for all of us. For all of us to tap into and to inspire us and to push us and to give us hope. So please think about realization of your dreams. If you could realize your dreams, what would your dreams be? And where do you think you would be, and how would you be feeling if today was the day that you realized your dreams? It's really powerful. So I pray that we will be part of the mission that would bring that to you. Next slide, please. So we're about 3 pillars in NEEW. Education. We've talked about education. I know we stressed about it, but it's really important. I think the topic out in the public domain now is becoming more and more about education and financial education, underpinning our understanding of how the world is working. Co-ownership. So we have co-ownership. You join us, you'll be co-owners, co-owners of our portfolio. Blaze touched on that, the type of things that we have in our portfolio. So in many companies you go into, you are just either might be just a shareholder, or in MLM companies you're just earning money, but you don't actually co-own. We stress on the fact that we are co-owners, and that's what makes us very unique. So we value all our members and we are responsible for each other and ourselves. And then on top of that as well, we also have business. So you can actually have a career and develop your own business with us in the way we work as an organization. So that's really powerful. So you have the 3 pillars there: education, co-ownership, and business. Next slide, please, Blaze. So we have a presidential council. So they make up of the people, once again, who've worked really hard to get where they are. They didn't just come in and become presidential council members. They've all come into the company, some from the beginning, some along the way, and they've been very successful. So we have Mila, who I've met Mila, and Petru, who I've met as a young guy, millionaire through New Economic Evolution of the World. He's a real living example of speaking to a young millionaire there. Dragos as well in restaurant business, Andrew of Australia, Armand, very successful, was a luggage porter, now is a multimillionaire. Zamilia, very successful in Kazakhstan. Havinda, originally from India, lives in Italy. Dr. Lydia Oyman and Cam in Vietnam. These are all real living people, very inspiring, amazing stories among them all. And Andre there is our CEO. If it wasn't for him, so I say thank you, Andre, for taking us on this journey. He's a real visionary. I don't know how he holds it all in his head, actually, and he looks so good and so young. I think I'd have loads of wrinkles and lines with the stress of it all. But he is amazing, an amazing person to meet. You speak to him, you feel the aura around him. He's very gentle, but so knowledgeable and so insightful. So it's been a pleasure to actually meet Andre as well. Next slide, please. So what will be your decision after we've spoken to you this evening? Will you leave everything as it is, or get financial and investment education? There's multiple sources of passive income. Be part of a like-minded community where you can sort of interact with other people with all the different issues you may be having, roadblocks, eureka moments, and be able to share that with people who are actually on the same journey as you are and have actually encountered. There's nobody, I think, in the whole of our organization who hasn't encountered what you may be having and worries about your first step or when you get stuck. We are all here, and we've all done different paths of the journey. The ability to create assets, that's just mind-blowing, that we can just create assets and be part of something where you can actually see something realized and it's tangible and touch it. And an opportunity to leave a legacy so that you can have something you can pass on to your next generation. Isn't that amazing? That you can actually pass this on to the next generation and empower them so that you've given them a step up, so they may not have to be worried about their employer or their job or what they're going to be doing tomorrow, or if they can do what they want to do tomorrow, that they'll be able to realize their dreams much sooner. And that's something really wonderful and powerful and amazing gift to be able to give somebody, that you can actually help them to realize their dreams sooner and to leave that in their legacy for them. Thank you.
Yeah, come to the end.
Guys, wow, that was amazing. Well done. Thanks, Jacqueline. Thanks, Blaise, for an amazing presentation. And thanks to all of the attendees as well. And thanks for being around. And wow, we've got 15 people. That's amazing. So guys, please put an 8 in the chat just to say thank you to Jacqueline and Blaise for the presentation. That'd be amazing. Yeah, and actually, you know what, we've got like 20 minutes before 8, so if you like, I don't know, maybe we can do like a questions and answers for a few minutes, like for 20 minutes before we go into the 8 rules. So does anyone have any questions, any burning questions that they would like answering? I think someone asked about Salvamala was asking about can you still get crew when you buy EIPs? Yes, that's correct. You have to be a VIP member in order to get crew via that route. So just to clarify that. Otherwise, if you're not a VIP member, the only EIPs you can buy don't have crew with them. Okay.
And also, I'd like to just add in there, Mo, if you're buying EIPs as well, there are installment options. still at the moment installment options, and we'd just like to also stress, if you purchase an EIP with an installment option, it will be honoured whenever we're looking to go to exchange at some point towards the mid-end of the end of the year. So some people have been worried if they buy them and they're doing installments, it will be stopped. No, that will be honoured, so you can continue paying your installments if you wish to pay your EIP by installments. So that option is still on the table.
Cool. And yeah, so John Jacobson says, been in 5 years in the company. That's amazing. I think you said above somewhere that you did you recruit Marshall? Did you? Was Marshall one of your signups? Was he?
Marshall was my he is my plan. So he recruits me, Marshall. So yeah.
Yeah. So nice to hear from you, John. Nice to see you here. That's amazing. And does anyone else have any questions right now? Would you like to? You can ask anything, and maybe we can even answer it. That'd be amazing. So just 140,000 people. That's pretty awesome, John. Yeah. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people for one person to help, right?
Yeah.
Guys, what do you think?
Powerful. Really powerful.
It's like 1/8 of a million.
Well done. Okay. No.
Do you have any wisdom, John? Maybe you can maybe you got some tips. But I tell you what, who's enjoying the data mining at the moment? Type DM in the chat if you're enjoying data mining. Absolutely never stop learning. I'm a big fan of learning myself. Done a lot of personal development, like even outside of this company as well. But yeah, I'm like, it's a shame we can't travel these days. But last year I was out of the country like 9 times on personal development type things. Amazing. I'm just aware that there might well be people that want to join at 8 o'clock, because that's the time that's advertised for the training. So that's why I don't want to start right now. Jacqueline, Blaze, how are you getting on with do you have anything to say about data mining, or do you have anything to say about anything else that's coming up? Are you feeling excited about UGain?
Oh, I was going to say UGain sounds absolutely thrilling. I'd be interested actually how many of our business partners here tonight are really amazed by data mining. Absolutely. Is there anything else, Sydney, you want to say about DM? Are you getting lots of new contacts? You see, he's really amazed by it. But UGain, I just think it's just going to be mind-blowing. I just think it's absolutely wonderful. And we're lucky and really blessed to be in an organization where we're actually going to have that as part of our portfolio. I think it's really, we're in a really amazing situation. I know there's a lot of things that are happening, obviously, as I said before, in the world, but we're in a position where our portfolio, if we are going to be growing it and moving in the right direction, we will benefit, and so therefore we'll be able to help more people and actually pull people up by the bootstraps, as it were, and take them along with us and show them that there is life after all this crisis, and that there is a light and another really warm place that we can all go to and help each other, which is really, really amazing. And we're really grateful that we can do this. So keep spreading the word and keep bringing people here, and we're happy to talk to them and help them. There's further trainings with DM, and UGain will be continuing so that people will start to understand, because it's a lot to take in, because we've had a lot of stuff just happening quite recently. So I can understand if some people are thinking what's happening and I don't understand fully. We as ourselves, the Leadership Council, we will look to put on some more overview trainings for you so we can reinforce the information. So when you look at some of the presentations, not everything is clear. So we will aim to do that. But if there's specific things and things about the actual, when I say a nitty gritty about these topics, then we will direct you to the specific trainings where they will actually take you along and show you everything, so that you will be fully galvanized and ready to run and spread your wings and take it out across the globe. So yes, so we will have some more dates. So I know we're going to have a presentation on Thursday, and we're going to have one Wednesday at 8:30. So we will put out what topics we're going to do, and if you yourself guys would like specific topics for us to cover, please feel free to tell us, and we will look into doing that for you, because we're here to serve you. We're here to bring things for you to help you along this journey. All right, so we encourage that.
Just to reinforce what Jacqueline said, I've been playing with those tools. They're amazing tools. I would definitely recommend anyone who haven't got those tools to be involved, because it's gonna be huge. And
Sydney says there are people joining his network. Great, Sydney. Really pleased to hear that. That's great. Everybody,
that's positive.
Yeah, some really good some good feedback coming. So and we've just started. So you can imagine where we'll be in 3 months' time. I think we'll be in a really, really good place. So keep up the good work, Sydney, and everybody else who's doing it. John, everybody, keep up the really good work, and keep your teams engaged, and encourage them to go on the trainings. If they're not sure, just look up on the social media groups, and then you can earmark what's coming up, and everybody can come on and take part.
I tell you what, I'm really excited about data mining as well. Like, I've just been so busy with appointments, and just every day I'm just like, I've got new appointments, coming up with creative ways to intercept, you know, to kind of interact with people and get them interested. But then, you know, I was in the chip shop today, and the guy was like, oh yeah, you know, not sure whether to open up, and then, you know, he's like fearing about second wave. And I don't know, I think there are people that know that there's going to be more lockdowns planned, like not just one more, but there's it just occurred to me, it's like something like Ugain could really help him. I think I haven't quite got my head around Ugain, I have to admit. I'll be honest. I'm still learning as much as any of you guys are. But actually, in the chat, what do you think about Ugain? Have you heard about Ugain? Do you know much about Ugain? Type something in the chat. But yeah, certainly, I believe that for people with bricks and mortar businesses, Ugain is going to be something that's going to be able to help them to realize different streams of income. And also, of course, get them into the company. So what do you think, Jacqueline? What do you think, Blaise, about Ugain?
I'm going to be honest. I did roughly Ugain. Mainly, I worked the last couple of days on the data mining. I have no time to explore as I did on the DM, but I suspect. I can't remember. We say we plan to achieve 10 million by Christmas with those two applications. I think it's feasible. Before I had a doubt, but with those two tools, I think it's feasible. But I can't comment a lot about Ugain because I didn't explore in depth about the Ugain. But I know a lot about the DM at the moment, but less by trying to educate myself on the Ugain because it started in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, I love the fact it is free for users. I mean, the entrepreneurs will get 3 months trial, and they'll be able to use it free for 3 months to see whether it's going to improve their customer retention and customer, increase. And the customers, I think most customers love something free, and a free app, to put on your phone and then to be. And the beautiful thing about Ugain is the way the interface, the way it can actually interact with so many other things at the same time, that it can actually give you points, give you benefits, that you can actually shop at other places, and the place where it was actually originated from, the entrepreneur who actually originated from, will actually get benefits from you even shopping elsewhere. The fact that you know, some of these things could be turned into money. You can get all different. I think it's really exciting that it's touching so many different levels and so many different areas of industry, and everybody's winning. So it's not like you go to someone else's store and they're thinking, no, you should come to mine. This is the only place you can get benefits. You go to another store, you get benefits. The person who recommended you to go to that store gets benefits as well. And the person whose store you're going to gets benefits. And the consumer, so it's almost like a triangle with different triangles in the triangle, because it's beautiful actually how it all comes together. And that's why it's a bit complex. There's so many arms because the way it's working. But I just think the way it's putting things together and taking the stress out of for the entrepreneur, by him actually able to directly be in a relationship with the customer to actually find out what they need. The customer can be in direct relationship with their sellers and say what they need, what they feel, to get feedback so they can work on what they're doing. I just think it's that they can even use it for their staff. They can even do incentives. They can encourage their staff and look at how they're performing. So it's not just an app that customers can just use and just go and shop. It's quite a huge juggernaut actually. It's a juggernaut on wheels coming through, and it's I think the way it's going to be seamless is going to be quite amazing.
Yeah, I think that presentation on Saturday, the first training, was really cool. Put a 1 in the box if you went to the training on Saturday. So with the UGain training, was that on Saturday? Or was it actually, it was a Saturday? No, yeah, it was this Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was just gone. Yeah, and the next one's coming up. But put a 1 in the box if you went to that actually. And we're at about 2 minutes to 2 right now. So sorry, 2 minutes to 8. So what do you think? Shall I start now?
Yeah, we'll have
like 2 minutes early.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I think we can start. Okay, cool. I'm going to share my slides on.
Okay, Mo.
Okay then, guys. So actually, I need to start the actual slideshow. Come on, right. Okay, can you see my slideshow or do you see my PowerPoint screen? Do you know what? I'll just stop sharing and just share again. Here we go. Let's do that. Okay, right.
See your screen.
Okay, this way should be good. Okay, guys. So you know the score if you've been here on Tuesday before, and right now it's 8 p.m. and we are going to take you through the basic investment training. Okay, so. Well done, guys, for being here for this long, and we'll get through this. And yeah, I hope that you're going to continue to learn something new. So, as is the name of our company. So, the more that you go through this training, the more that it will make sense to you. Okay, so. And again, also, this is just a free training. So if you do bring your clients to this meeting, then they get a flavor of what we actually teach here. So in this program, we're going to talk to you about the 8 rules of the private investor, financial planning, capitalization secrets, what to do next in order to live your dream life within 3 months, your actions and your next steps. So my name is Mo Rahman, and I am also a member of the UK Local Leadership Council, along with Blaise and Jacqueline. We also have 2 other members, Gail and Magda, who also you'll see around. They tend to, well, we all tend to swap basically. So I'm a consultant in the company, and I'm pretty certain, well, I'm aiming to get to president by the end of the current promotion. And I'm a certified master property graduate. At the moment, I am also doing the Marathon 260 training as well. I'm an international speaker and private investor and an entrepreneur. But my background is I actually graduated in astrophysics, and then I went into a data analyst kind of finance roles in the public sector here in the UK. So I've worked for local government. I've also worked for the civil service. And I've worked, you know, I've had actual jobs, and I've also worked, you know, I've temped a lot, and I've also had actual contracts as well. My last posting was I was an interim manager on quite a decent contract actually, back in local government. And I've even authored my own book. It's a law of attraction book, and it's called Powered by the Universe. It's my book. So yeah, and I'm very, very fond of this company because so something you'll notice, a common theme in our company is 8. So Andre does everything by 8s, including what we're teaching you tonight, which is the 8 rules of the private investor. So why do we need to learn financial literacy? So the question is not how much you earn, but it's actually, do you have sufficient financial knowledge to save and multiply your hard-earned money? So do you know what best to do with your money such that it grows and multiplies instead of it just disappearing? Okay, so that's part of what we're going to teach you tonight. So first of all, how does your portfolio actually look? Are you someone who basically just has a salary and you pay a little bit into a pension, and then you just hope that when you retire, your pension's going to be worth something? Is that you? Or are you someone who has, as well as your salary and your pension, you've got a whole bunch of other investments like gold or funds or property or crypto or pre-IPO securities, insurance, education? How much do you actually invest in yourself? Wouldn't you agree? And actually, if you had, if you really understood what Jacqueline was talking about earlier in the presentation, actually your financial education is the most important thing. Type an E in the chat if you believe that education is actually the most important thing. Jimmy, nice one, thank you. And Sydney, thank you. Yeah, education is the most important thing. Did you know, I want to tell you a little something, right? Did you know that Donald Trump, so Donald Trump, okay, thank you, Sylvamala. Donald Trump, he was born into his money, just like Andre, okay? Andre was born rich as well. But Donald Trump was born really rich, like he comes from $1 billion family, okay? But at one point, he actually, through bad deal making, he got down to his last $100 million, okay? Now, you might be thinking, but you know what, Mo, $100 million is hardly poor. But you see, for someone like Donald Trump, $100 million is like being on the street, okay? And he's had to then build that back up again through, you know, through using his intelligence, his experience and his education, okay? So billionaires and the elites, that's exactly what they have, and exactly what we don't have is they know how to multiply their money. They have an excellent financial education, okay? So, as I said, everything in this company, most things are basically done in 8s, okay? So the 8 rules of the private investor by Andre Carburetor. Rule number 1 is you have to understand the terminology. You need to understand what the difference is between assets and liabilities, financial independence and financial freedom, investments and investing. The second rule is to follow the 5 commandments of the private investor, which are to save 10% of your income, control your income and expenditure, protect your money from losses, learn how to invest, and always learn how to earn more. The third rule of the private investor is to have a financial plan. The fourth rule is to diversify. The fourth rule is to maintain discipline and basically follow the plan. The 6th rule is don't be greedy and don't be lazy. 7 is to always be learning to invest. And 8, always be learning how to let me see if I can move that. I can move that. Brilliant. How to increase your income. Okay, so I don't know where I'm going to move this to. So I've got all the buttons. Now I've got to move all the buttons. So I'll move them down there. Okay, so rule number 1 is understand the terminology. So first of all, there is financial independence and financial freedom. There's assets and liabilities, and there are investments and investing. So one by one, first of all, we'll look at what the difference is between financial independence and financial freedom. So which would you rather be right now? Type FI if you'd like to be financially independent, and type FF if you would prefer to be financially free. So let's see what people write. FI or FF, guys. Well, Jimmy knows. Jimmy knows. And to be honest, you probably all know by now that actually you want to be working to financial freedom, okay? But for anyone that's watching, maybe on Facebook, who doesn't understand what the difference is, financial independence is effectively the same as just having savings in the bank, okay? If you know that you can go for 10 years on the savings in your bank, you're basically kind of financially independent for 10 years. But then when the 10th year comes along, then you have to worry because you don't have any, you're running out of money, okay? Financial freedom is basically being in a position where you have enough passive income such that you know that your necessities are taken care of. So you never actually have to work again if you don't want to, as long as your cost of living doesn't actually go up, okay? So financial freedom is about having passive income streams, okay? Financial independence is just about having savings in the bank and the money runs out. Financial freedom is a constant trickle of money, okay? So that's the difference between those two. The next thing is to understand what the difference is between assets and liabilities. So this is actually another dichotomy which was popularized by Robert Kiyosaki, whom you met earlier. If you were at the training earlier, we talked about the cash flow quadrant. So Robert Kiyosaki also talked about the difference between assets and liabilities. And what he says is that most people, they think that their house is an asset. So why don't you put in the chat box if you think your house is an asset or a liability, okay? A for asset, L for liability, okay? So, right, we've actually got some variation here. So Sydney says L for liability and Jimmy says A for asset. And some of you on other channels, if you're watching, you might also be a little bit mixed about this. I remember I asked my next door neighbor this exact question, and he said, well, you know, the accountant would write it off as an asset, and he'd write the car off as an asset. But what Robert Kiyosaki teaches is that if it is making you a net loss, then it is actually a liability overall. So if you own your house and you are paying your mortgage and it is depreciating in value and you need to change the carpets, or you need to get a new bathroom or kitchen or something, then actually it's ultimately costing you money. So that is a net loss, which is a liability by Robert Kiyosaki's definition. An asset by Robert Kiyosaki's definition is something that provides a net income. It provides cash flow that comes into your account rather than leaving your account. okay, like a liability. So if you take the same house, exactly, if you take the same house and you rent it out, so you could rent out rooms to tenants if you have to live in it. But basically, let's say you had the same house, same mortgage, but now you've got tenants who are paying you, and they're paying you more than what your mortgage is costing you, and they're also paying for that new kitchen, that new bathroom, whatever it is. And ultimately, you're making a net gain from that house. That is actually an asset. Okay. So does that make sense, Jimmy? Put a Y for yes or an N for no. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, and that's actually teaching Robert Kiyosaki. So definitely look him up as well when you get out of here. So the next dichotomy to understand, this one's quite easy, is the difference between investments and investing. Okay, and this is very, very easy. An investment is really just a tool that you can use to magnify your money if you know what you're doing with it. So you could have bank deposits, you could have businesses, insurance companies, investment funds, stocks, precious metals, real estate. There's a whole bunch that's going on here, as you can see, and there are more than these investment tools that are available. These are just some. Investing is merely the science of using these investment funds to the best ability. So investing is the act of making investments. So, for instance, you know, you could invest, instead of saving your money and sticking it under the pillow, you could invest that money. And if you're investing $10,000, say, in something that is going to provide you 12% a year, then after 20 years, you would have $110,000. Or if it's 30% yearly, you'd have $3.8 million. So we're on to rule number 2 of the 8 rules of the private investor, and this is the 5 commandments. Okay. So the first commandment is you have to pay yourself first. Okay, you've got to save 10%, 10 to 30% of your income. Now, it doesn't matter where you are in life, you can always afford to do this. So I remember we had an audience member a while ago, and he said, well, what if I only earn like $900 a month and things are really, really tight? Okay, so there might be some of you that are thinking, well, I'm really skint. What are you talking about? How can I can't save 10 to 30% of my income. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you are struggling anyway on your meager income, well, guess what? Saving 10% and living off 90% of what is meager is really not going to change your situation much in terms of your day-to-day living on 10% less. But that 10%, when you save it up and then you wind up with enough that you can make an investment of it, actually that is your route out of that situation. And it seems like the opposite of what you might think. But actually, when you really think about it, that 10%, when you understand compounding, that 10% a month just grows and grows and grows. And before long, you find yourself out of this rabbit hole of an existence that you can barely live off, and you'll dig your way out the hole just because you saved 10% of your income and paid yourself first. The second commandment is about controlling your expenses. Okay, type a Y in the chat if this statement makes sense to you. Okay, you have to spend less than you earn. Okay, type a Y in the chat if that makes sense. If it's really obvious, of course it's obvious, right? It's a lot easier said than done, that's for sure. I know that. But it's obvious, as long as you are able to ensure that you are spending less than you are actually earning, then you are making a net gain, okay? And it's when you have the discipline to do that, that's when life changes, especially if you're also putting 10% away. The third commandment is to protect your money. And protecting your money is all about, it's all about knowing what you're getting yourself into. Where is it best to put that money to save it if you are paying yourself first? And then the knowledge of what investments are you going to eventually put it into. So all that comes from, it actually comes from commandment 4 as well, which is about understanding and learning how to invest wisely. And of course, commandment number 5, again, learning related, is about always knowing how to earn more. How can you make your money work for you more? Or how can you generate more money from your work, from your time? So that was rule 2 of the private investor. There's rule 2 of the private investor. So, especially with income and expenses, I remember when in about 2004 to 2007, I was temping, and I went from having a monthly income to having a weekly income. But I had so many outgoings going out of my account on specific days of the month, and I did exactly this. I had a spreadsheet which basically logged what my income streams were and when payments. Well, actually, for me, mine was as well as this, but it was also what specific payments were going out at on what day of each of the month, so that I would know how much I need to have in my account in order that such that that payment would actually be there to go out without me going into overdraft. Because each time I go into overdraft, there's a charge, and then that is just a scale down. So remember, what you focus on expands. Okay, so if you focus on the money and focus on it growing, then you will expand that growth. And this is a way that you can do it, which is basically to tabulate your income and your expenses, and then basically just keep an eye on whether you're going over budget or under budget, and basically you know, make adjustments as you go along. And maybe think about, well, do I need to spend that much on food? Do I need to spend that much on entertainment and going out? I mean, you have to play. You have to play, but do you need to play so much? Okay. So type a Y in the chat if you're liking this training and if this is making some sense to you. Jimmy's loving it. Jimmy's loving it. I'm glad that you're loving it, Jimmy. Thank you. And Fusi as well, thank you. Nice to see you again, Fusi. Benery, wow, okay, pleased to see you. I've never seen your name before, so welcome. And guys, actually, if you are new, thank you, Fusi. If you are new, type new as well. Judith, hello, welcome. So yeah, please type new if you've never seen this training before. Okay. Oh wow, Judith, for Judith and Benery, it's new. Okay, well look, it's a pleasure to serve you. We do this on Tuesdays. We might well also do a different training on Tuesdays as well, so that you can understand the business and the business side of our company and how to build your team. Okay, and certainly the latest promotions. But maybe that'll come next Tuesday as well. Certainly, just keep an eye out and keep coming to these meetings. Okay, it's a welcome to have you. Okay, so rule number 3 of the private investor is about having a financial plan. So there are different plans, different terms. You can have a short-term plan, a mid-term plan, and a long-term plan. your long-term plan and your long-term goal is really related to your vision, your ultimate vision for life. Where do you want to be in your old age? You know, or where do you want to be? What's your idea of heaven? And when do you want that to come? And how long is it, you know, can you imagine yourself? What's your ultimate vision, basically, is your long term. And then that probably breaks down into little milestones, or rather smaller milestones, that you need to achieve before you get to that long term vision. Okay. And then your short term goals are basically the plans that you're going to make in order to reach those milestones, those midterm goals. Okay. So you've got to have a plan. And a plan is basically about, well, I could read this slide. Okay, I'll read this slide and then we'll unpick it. Okay. A financial plan is a comprehensive evolution of an investor's current and future financial state by using currently known variables to predict future cash flows, asset values, and withdrawal plans. Financial planning is an ongoing process to help you make sensible decisions about money that can help you to achieve your goals in life. So, a plan is basically about what goals you will set and how you are going to go about attaining those goals on the way to reaching your milestones, on the way to reaching your ultimate vision for life. Okay, and planning is the process of coming up with the plan. Okay, so and all of it requires research, basically. Research and then kind of tabulating and visualizing how you're going to achieve those things. Okay, so this is why you need a plan, because you want to be able to form your capital to be able to provide your passive income. So basically you need to grow and hatch a golden egg into a golden chick, into a golden goose that is laying golden eggs. Okay, capital formation for passive income. Is this making sense? Type a G for gold if this is making sense. Okay, type a G for gold. Yeah, exactly. Good. You know, this golden goose analogy, I really love this analogy. I use this in my own presentations. So why do you need a plan? You want to accumulate for your children's education, maybe even for buying a house or a car or whatever, or to open your own business, to provide yourself with a pension, to provide yourself with an inheritance that you can pass on to your kids. Okay. So rule number 4, well, rule number 4, remember, we love the golden eggs and the golden goose analogy. Diversify your portfolio. Once you have a golden goose that is laying golden eggs, start hatching other golden geese. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Diversify, basically have different streams of income eventually. Okay, is this making sense? Put a Y in the chat if this is making sense. You've got to diversify your income, right? You've got to understand the terminology. You've got to, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I've forgotten the rules myself, but you've got to have a plan, right? And you've got to follow those 5 commandments. You know, you've got to save 10% of your capital and be educating yourself constantly and spending less than you earn, right? It all makes sense, okay? And rule number 4, obviously, diversify, because you never know what's going to stop. There's a lot of people that have been setting up YouTube channels or they've been setting up social media channels only, especially on YouTube, only to become demonetized, and they built their businesses around that. Okay, so you've got to have different. You got to spread your eggs out between different baskets. You can't rely on just YouTube or just Instagram or just, you know, if you're in the social media game. And maybe don't rely on the social media game, have other investments as well, okay? So rule number 5, now that you have a plan, you've got to stick to the plan, okay? This is about having discipline. Do any of you do trading, or have you had any experience with financial trading on the markets? Put a N in the chat for no, or put a Y in the chat for yes. And I'm monitoring just to see if there's new Ys, okay? So no, okay. Any other answers? Okay, not many. Okay, so one of the things that I've learned about trading, and I've done quite a lot of trading trainings, and I've had a go, it's actually about the fact that you can never win all of your trades. There's no system that you will ever learn that will ever be 100% accurate, okay? There's always an element of chance. But maybe you come up with a strategy which 5 out of 20 times it will actually produce big wins, and you can pretty much count on it. As long as you do 20, as long as you take 20 of the trades consecutively, of the signals consecutively, then 5 of them will become really, really big wins, and actually they will more than eclipse the losses, the 15 losses that you make, okay? Now, it only works if you stick to the strategy. It doesn't work if you only make like 2 or 3 trades and they all lose, and then you get bored because you can't face losing any more times. The strategy only works 5 times in 20, okay? So if you have a plan to make use of a strategy, you've got to stick to the plan and do all 20 of the trades, okay? There's another analogy, which is with diving. So a friend of mine shared with me that he wasn't getting into an investment because him and his wife are divers, and when they learned to dive, they learned this key rule, which is you plan for the dive and then you dive the plan. So you plan the dive and then you dive the plan. And what that means is you only have a limited amount of air, of oxygen in your tank. So if you plan the dive and you plan to see certain things on the ocean floor or certain sites, then what that means is you cannot deviate from the plan, because you might get down there and you might think, oh wow, there's that thing as well, let's go and take a look at that. But the problem is, as soon as you do that, you're off plan and you don't have enough air to make it for your whole trip. And that's when divers get into trouble, okay? Type a U in the chat if you understand, okay? You plan the dive and you dive the plan, okay? Investment discipline, if you have a strategy that works 5 times out of 20 and you only do it 3 times instead of 20 times and they all lose, you'll never win. But your strategy was good for 5 times out of 20. So you should plan for the 20, okay? Including 15 losses, right? So stick to the plan. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm glad that you're finding this valuable. Thank you, guys. Your energy dictates my energy. So I'm very, very grateful for your energy in the chat. Thank you. And thank you, those of you that are watching on Facebook as well. Unfortunately, I'm not monitoring the chat there, but please do play along. And if I say to type something, I might not see it, but the more you interact, the more it will stick, okay? And of course, repetition also makes it stick. So guys, if you are liking, by the way, the standard of this education, you should be aware that this is what is on offer when you buy an education package with us. It's just next level. You're just getting the free stuff here, okay? You're just getting the free stuff here. So you want to watch Andre dropping some wisdom bombs on his videos in our education packages, and actually even also at the live trainings that he does as well. So rule number 6 of the private investor. So don't be greedy. Greediness can lead to bankruptcy. This is actually more about managing your emotions, okay? So if you have a plan, and let's say, again, let's go back to the trading example. If you know that the market is, you kind of knew that if it's going to go up, it's going to go to this level, right? Don't then get to this level and think, right, I think it might go a little bit higher, because the fact is, you knew that it was going to get to that level and maybe turn around. Stick to the plan. Don't be greedy. Stop thinking that it's going to go higher, because you may well just get caught in a position where it's like, well, you knew previously that it was going to get there and turn around. So you don't be kicking yourself that it turned around and you didn't sell at this level that you planned for, okay? That's the don't be greedy. But the other part of this rule is actually also don't be too fearful, because I've been speaking to a lot of people recently about our company, and they can see that the token, the CryptoUnit that we have, and again, you know, we're not financial advisors. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not telling you what to do. But I know that when I first saw this CryptoUnit, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like a kid. And I was like, I've got to get me some of that. If I had $1 million, my inner child would have just put $1 million on that, okay? But then my logical brain wakes up and says, the adult, and says, well, hang on, no. Look at this logically. It's a really high risk thing. Why would you put $1 million onto this, okay? So this is the thing that's more fearful, okay? This is the thing that's quite greedy and wants to put $1 million on in order to turn it into billions and billions of dollars. This is the more logical side, which is a little bit more fearful and is less likely to want to take any risk. So how do you balance the greed and the fear? Okay, maybe you only want to take $100 on something that is massively risky, or $1,000, something that actually, if it lost overall, well, it's not going to kill you. So don't be fearful and don't be greedy, or it's the other way around here. Don't be greedy and don't be fearful. It's the same thing. You have to expose yourself to a certain amount of risk, but just not a stupid amount of risk, okay? And you've got to do your own due diligence. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you anything about, I can't give you financial advice. I'm just telling you what I think is wise for me, okay? Type a Y in the chat if you're still enjoying this, okay? Give me some more energy, that'd be amazing. And actually, do you know what? The number 8 is the number, it's a very auspicious number. And as you can see, there's always 8 stars in anything that Andre does, okay? There's 8 stars on all of our iconography. Most things are done in 8s. Yeah, let's have some more 8s. Thank you, Salvamala. 8s are good. 8s are a good number. Okay. In fact, you could do, oh, you know what? You missed an 8 there, Fusi, because like if you'd have done 8 8s, that would have been like really amazing. 7's good though. Okay, so rule number 7. Rule number 7 is education and self-development. You've got to keep educating yourself. Okay, you have to keep up with your own personal development. Now, I don't want to scare anyone, but God's honest truth, at this point, I have actually spent $150,000 on my own personal development, okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that any of you would go away and do that, okay? For me, at one point, it made sense to sell my house, and I happened to free up a whole bunch of capital. And this basically meant that last year, I got to travel the world and actually just go and do personal development events all over the world. And yeah, and it was just a really, really amazing, it's been a really amazing couple of years actually, because I've done that. Because now we're in this weird lockdown environment with, you know, the world has rapidly changed. And regardless of what is happening in the world and how much everything is just going downhill and people are losing their jobs and the economy is just being systematically destroyed, I'm the one that has all of the knowledge. And remember, it's education, financial education, which is the thing that allows you to exceed everything else and everyone else. And I'm because I've done so much personal development, self-development, and invested so much in my education, well, guess what? I know that I'm going to come out of this and it is just all a breeze, okay? And by the way, there's a reason why I'm good at speaking, is because I've invested in the ability to speak, okay? So put a Y in the chat if you understand. Put a Y in the chat if you understand. And actually, you know what? Put a Y in the chat because you are going to invest in your education, okay? Put a Y in the chat because you invest in your education, you understand the value, okay? I know before I really came into this company that I didn't really know the first thing about the science and the art of investing, okay? I kind of knew about it. I'd read Napoleon Hill. I'd done a lot of studies with other personal development companies, but actually the difference between those companies, and they are all really, really good, by the way. I was mentored by Success Resources, by Richard Tan of Success Resources. I've met Robert Kiyosaki. I've been at the dinner table with them, okay? I've been at the dinner table with Les Brown. I've you know, I've had a lot of, I've done a lot of very like higher level things, but none of those things have really taught me to really properly look at investing and the art and science and the spirituality there is, like the way that all of that is behind our company, because there's a huge amount of spirituality behind our company as well. We're bringing in a new economic evolution of the world, as Jacqueline mentioned at the end of the presentation earlier tonight, you know, where we really are all about changing the world and educating the world to their own abundance and their own financial freedom, such that we live in a vibration with you know, at least 1 billion people. That's a significant proportion of the world that have absolutely no worries about paying for the roof over their head or the food on the table. And it is almost too good to be true, Jimmy. But do you know what? We're taking steps, and the way that our company works, it really, really, really does reward the spreading the word for a reason. And actually, when you understand that 40% of all of the new revenues that comes in, so every sale that's made, 40% goes straight into the portfolio. And then you understand why the portfolio always consistently grows, because we follow these 8 rules, okay? And we follow all of the things that Andre teaches in the Academy of the Private Investor, okay? So definitely worth looking at some of those EIP packages. If you haven't done those videos yet, definitely look at those and absorb some of what Andre has to say from himself, okay? And show up to the meetings. We do a lot of Saturday meetings, so definitely show up to those. So that is rule number 7, education, personal development. Okay. So lastly, there is the 8th rule of the private investor, which is always multiply your investment profit. This basically means compound. Okay. So another way that we operate our portfolio is, so not only is it that all of the new money that comes in, the sales revenue, 40% goes into the portfolio, but also some months 100% of the profits generated from the portfolio is just reinvested anyway. Okay. If we make more than a certain threshold, it's about $100,000, then we take a vote as to whether we pay like up to 35% to the holders, the shareholders, the crew holders as the property bonus. But other than that, you know, 65%, the remainder is always reinvested. So not only is there new money coming into the portfolio from new sales, but also the profits are being reinvested, at least 65% every month. So it's a really, really amazing way to compound, which is rule number 8 of the private investor. Always compound your gains. So now we're going to talk about the 8 wonders of the world in the world of finance. So compound interest, as I've just alluded to. So there's a difference between cumulative interest and compound interest. Compounding is the addition of interest to the principal amount of the loan or deposit. In other words, the interest on the interest. So that's the key. Compounding is about making interest on the interest. Okay. This is the result of reinvestment of interest and not their payment, so that interest in the next period is accrued of the principal amount plus previously accumulated interest. Okay, so in the chat, and do this on Facebook as well, I want you to type compounding equals interest on interest. Okay, just type compounding equals interest on interest. And if you are making notes in your notepad, hand write that and let that one sink in. Okay, thank you. Cumulative interest, thank you, Jimmy, that's awesome. Cumulative interest is the sum of all interest payments on the loan for a certain period of time. A depreciable loan, cumulative interest will increase with a decreasing rate, since each subsequent periodic payment of loan represents a higher percentage of the principal amount of the loan and a smaller percentage of its interest. Basically, cumulative interest is not as good as compounding, okay? Especially if you are compounding your gains in a portfolio for your own investments, for your own passive income, for instance, okay? Cumulative interest is only accumulating on the capital, okay, the initial capital. So that is compounding interest, financial plan and compounding interest. So this chart just kind of gives you a little bit of an illustration of what could happen if you were saving at 8% a month. Say this first column is 100. Let's say that you, well, let's basically say that you're investing €10 a month into something that produces 8% a month. And after 10 years, you'd have just over $1 million, $1.33 million. But if you took, if you actually managed to do €50 a month instead, this penultimate column here, and you invested that into the same thing that was producing 8% a month, well, actually another $40 would basically turn that into, it would actually, you know what, it would 5 times. It would 5 times what, as you might expect. Okay, so that's just a few stats. Okay, there's another chart which we'll go through later, which will explain this a little bit better, okay? But so just stick with me, okay? So now we're going to look at the basics of capitalization. Capitalization comes from the word capital, and therefore it would be useful to understand the meaning of the word capital. The term capital in accounting literature means the equity of the company. And net worth is one's assets minus one's liabilities. Economists will use the term capital to mean the accumulated wealth that's used to produce additional wealth. And net worth, which is also called carrying value, net worth is kind of share capital. Okay, so I like this chart. This is a lot easier than it looks. Okay, basically, if you were saving $30 a month over 30 years, if you put that under the pillow or under the bed, you would have, after 30 years, $10,800. That's if you took $30 a month and you put that under the bed and it did nothing. Okay? Now, instead, if you took that $30 a month and you invested it into something that was giving you 1% per month or 12% per year, because there's 12 months in a year, then actually, rather than just the $10,800 that you would have saved putting it under the bed, you would have $105,000 instead. Okay, so I know which I would rather have. Type 105K if you know that you would rather have $105,000 after 30 years rather than $10,800. Okay, put 105K in the chat if you want 105K after 30 years. It makes sense, right? It absolutely makes sense. And capitalization is basically the difference between the amount you would have saved, the actual real cash that you put in, and the actual money that you made. So capitalization is that value that you released from investing it. Okay, so that's the easy explanation. We'll just play that one again because that's coming again. So look, let's play a game. Okay, you've got Alex and you've got Bob. Okay, Alex has kind of a cool fro and a mustache, right? But Bob has arguably a cooler fro. Okay, so Alex, well, he gets started early, he's wise. Okay, and so he manages to save $200 a month over 30 years. Okay, Bob, however, he gets started 10 years later, but he's able to save twice as much, $400 a month. But he only does this for 20 years. Who do you think is in the better position, Alex or Bob? So type A in the chat for Alex or B in the chat for Bob. Jimmy is a B for Bob, okay? Type A in the chat for Alex or B for Bob. Who do you think is going to do better? Alex, who saves half as much for 10 years longer, or Bob, who saves twice as much for 10 years less? Come on, guys, we've only had one guess. That cannot be the extent that we get. There's 14 people here. Let's have some more guesses. A for Alex, B for Bob. Who does best? What do you think? I love this game. Okay, Gerald is a B for Bob. Okay, Venery is a B for Bob. No one is an A. No one is an A. That's amazing. Well, do you know, here's the little thing about trading. Not that I'm a very good trader, okay? Salvamala is a B for Bob. Oh, Salvamala, you should know better by now. Okay, I think you're all beginning to guess that that you know that you're wrong, right? So I'll show you, okay? So if you take a look at their charts afterwards, right? basically Alex, he's put away $200 a month for 30 years. But after 30 years, he's only parted with $72,000. Okay, but his capitalization is $281,000. Or actually, sorry, he's because of it, the investment's gone up to $281,000 for that 72 that he put in. Bob, however, saved twice as much for 10 years less. Okay, but overall, he's put in almost $100,000. Okay, and his investment, because it's 10 years less, is not even, it's not close to what Alex has after 30 years, saving half as much. Okay, so actually Alex did better. And again, just to explain capitalization, Alex's capitalization is the 281,000 that his final investment was actually worth, minus the amount of actual money that the real money that he's put in, which is the 72,000. Okay, the capital income. So his capitalization, the difference is 209,000. But so Alex won. Okay, so well done for playing the game, guys. That's amazing that you played the game. Thank you. And thank you if you're watching on Facebook as well, and if you participated. I hope that this is sinking in. So basically, getting started early means that you don't have to part with as much cash. And the earlier you start, then overall, the more fun you can have in life. Okay? So it makes sense. So this is a little bit like the other table that I just showed you. And if you want, you can do this as a homework. But, you know, I did this by hand myself. It took me 2 days. Some of you have seen me show you my actual calculations, and you've seen me do it by hand. Okay? But basically, imagine if you were able to save $100 a month, and you were to put it into something that was going to expand your money by 10% every month. So let's say it could, I apologize, not 10% per month, 1% per month, 2% per month, and 3% per month. Okay, so on the year, that would be 12% a year, 24% a year, or 36% a year, however you want to work it out. But the point is, you save $100 a month, and you calculate, well, so after the first month, then at 1% a month, that's gone up to 101. You add another $100, and then after the second month at 1%, it's now up to 203, and so on and so forth. Okay, and if you did that for 1%, 2%, and 3% per month, and see what you get, and I absolutely promise you, the results are astounding. In fact, you would not believe. I don't have my notes with me, so we're not going to play this game, which is unfortunate. But you would not believe what actually the result is, and the difference in just a couple of percent makes. Okay, and it's, I think this one you wind up going into the trillions of dollars, whereas this one you don't even do $1 million after 30 years, or you've just. I don't think you have broken $1 million after 30 years actually. With this first one, so it's really amazing. It's definitely worth looking at that exercise. Okay, next. So what are you going to do next in order to live your dream life in the next 3 months? Okay, do you have a dream board? Does it look something like this? Do you have holiday destinations, or you know, maybe this is the view from the end of your own private pier, right? Maybe this is what you do on your holidays, and what your families are doing on your holidays, on cruises or something. Okay, maybe this is your dream house, and this is your dream car. Do you have a vision board? Put a V in the chat if you have a vision board, or if you have an overall vision for how you want your life to be. And in fact, actually, Type stuff in the chat, basically saying the stuff that you want to see in your life. Do you want to see a Tesla in your life? Do you want to see a Lambo in your life? Do you want to see luxury watches? Or do you want to see designer clothes? Type in the chat, what is it that you want to see in your life? What lifestyle would you like to have? You know, do you just want a happy family? That's a perfectly good lifestyle. You have to disappear, that's okay. So Vamala, thank you very much. A pleasure as always. And don't you worry, you are always welcome. Thank you for being here. Jimmy, thank you. Freedom, yes. For me, it's certainly freedom. That's the thing I most care about. Salvamala, maybe next time share what's on your vision board. That would be amazing. But if you got to disappear, you got to disappear, and that's cool. Okay, so guys, what's next? Okay, this is what is next. Learn the 8 rules of the private investor. Apply these rules to your life every day and share these rules with 5 people. Keep learning about the financial world and start creating your own passive income. We've shown you a way that you can start doing that tonight. And hopefully you will take advantage of some of our EIPs. I hope you've enjoyed this taster session, okay? This gives you a flavor for the education that you get in our company. And I hope that you can understand that this stuff is the sort of education that will actually lead you to your financial freedom. Unlike what you get at university, and I went to university, by the way. So maybe when you're buying an EIP, maybe you might want to consider how much would you spend at university? How much is financial freedom worth to you and this knowledge, okay? Fusi, thank you so much. And Gerald and Judith, thank you very much. And Salvamala and Jimmy, thank you very much. I'm really grateful for all your energy. And Vermery as well, thank you. Guys, you've been really, really amazing, your energy. Thank you. Sydney also, thank you. Thank you so much. So look, we run this presentation every Tuesday. On Thursdays, we're going to make a change now. So Thursdays, we might do some improvisation. It's not necessarily going to be this presentation or the business training. But certainly, if we don't do that on Thursday, we'll do the business training next week on Tuesday. So come back on Tuesday, we'll do the business training, I think. Although that might be subject to change. Just keep coming for all of our meetings because we're going to start chopping and changing them, okay? Just to make it a bit more interesting. So thank you very much for attending tonight, guys. It's been a real pleasure to serve you as always. And put a round of 8s in the chat for yourselves, okay? And I'm going to stick a round of 8s in the chat for you as well. I'm going to put 8 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. There you go, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, BC. Thank you very much, Bernary. And thank you very much, all of you watching, either here, thank you, Judith, or on Facebook or on other channels. Maybe you're on YouTube catching the replay. So definitely, thank you very much. And that is a goodbye from myself, from Jacqueline, and from Blaze. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Mo. Bye-bye. Have a nice one.
Bye-bye.
Yes.